Good evening. You are watching Conversations About Jazz and Other Distractions. I am Robbie Wyndham. I am your producer for this evening, and I have Carl here with me who will give you more information. So, Carl, I'm handing it over to you.
Yeah, Ravi. Oh, I didn't see a recording. Okay, my bad. Good evening and welcome to It's About Jazz and Other Distractions. We have an excellent show for you this evening with the fabulous musicians who have been keeping the outer edges of jazz vibrant for a new generation with their interpretive styles. But before I introduce my guests, there is always some housekeeping that we must do. First of all, I want to thank all of you in the audience for following, joining, and supporting these live conversations. Your support is greatly appreciated. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our many sponsors: the Fulton County Arts Council, the City of Atlanta's Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, AT&T Time Warner Media, the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta, and NPN, the National Performance Network, for their continual support of the Hammonds House Museum, helping to make this program possible. As I said earlier, we really have a great show for you tonight. My first guest is known for her jazz vocalise and scatting, but she is also an extraordinary pianist. Please welcome Audrey Shakir.
Hey,
welcome, Audrey. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I didn't know I was an extraordinary pianist. I think I'm a mediocre.
And joining Audrey is a Grammy Award-winning tenor saxophonist, Mr. Kebbi Williams. Welcome to the conversation, both of you.
Can you see me? Oh, there we go. Hey.
Is it good? Hey, Kebbi.
Hey.
Yeah. I like you lift your glasses and show the eyes. That was cute. Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you, Kebbi, in the real world?
For those of you who are tuning in, I'm having a bit of trouble with...
Oh,
there we go.
yeah. Where are you in the real world?
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the DC area.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot going on in DC.
Okay. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's it'll be all right. Somebody's in charge, but it's not okay. Anyway. Yeah. So what are you doing
So,
now?
can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened to Carl's connection, but this is technology. And so, 2021 is starting off great in a good way. No, in all seriousness, thank you all for being here. I will just kind of get things started until we get Carl back online. Luckily, I can kind of read Carl's mind and see what he was going to ask. So anyway, I will just continue his conversation. And so as he was speaking earlier, we have Audrey and Kebbi here, and I'm just going to jump right on into it. It's been nearly a year since the pandemic shut down the entertainment industry and life as we know it. So, to each of you, how has each of you been weathering this musical climate for the past 10 months?
So I don't cuss a lot, Kebbi. Go ahead. I'm gonna calm myself down. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been low. It's been pretty much nothing's been happening since the virus because all the clubs have been closed and all the tours, have been shut down. So we're not doing much of what we used to do. I'm still playing studio things, but not shows. Yeah,
Sad.
different.
I find you so exciting to listen to. And here's what I say. I'm a performing artist. That's what I do. So I need a crowd. I mean, it might be two people. You know how you can have a small gig somewhere and like three people show up. One of them's your mama and one of them's your sister and the other one is you. Or you can play big venues, whatever, but there's something about performing. I am a performing artist. And I can't perform. I need to actually, hear them breathe, which is, sick right now, or, see them. It needs to be something that I cannot have right now. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I haven't done anything, it's hard. I mean, it's really hard because I can't be what I'm good at. I mean, what feeds me. That's what I want to say. It's not what I'm good at, but it's something that, it's a big part of life for me. It's what I want. It's what I need, and I cannot have it. So I don't know what, hopefully everything will work its way out or through until we can get to some other new normal or something where I can be, what I want to be with people. And they can be that,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, it's a lot. Of course, there's so much going on, and along with the pandemic, as we continue to have these social injustice movements, that has altered perspective worldwide. And so, with that, has the global social injustice movement made you more conscious or influence your composing or the songs you choose to perform? And if so, like how? How has that been for you?
Interesting question. I never thought about that. For me, I think it is. I have a different perspective of what I do and how I do it. I see myself in this time as blessed because I recognize. I mean, how do I say this? I recognize that every human being has gifts of some kind that only they have, in some kind of combination, some kind of way. And if they take advantage of those things, that's all to the good for them individually and for society and everything. If you use the things that I'm going to say God has put into you or put in your way. Right now, it's more about an introspection, than it is a demonstration. So because there's nobody to demonstrate to, so I have to show myself. And so I'm thinking more about like what to do with things, not so much what to use. I don't pick songs that much anymore, but I'm thinking more about what to do with them. If that makes sense. That makes sense to you, Kebbi?
Mm-hmm. You do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
I'm
different.
going to add, Kebbi, before you also respond to that, I'm going to add, I see Carl is back, so I'm going to gladly pass the torch over back to Carl as I am the behind the scenes person. So, Carl, here you go.
Thank you, Ravi. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet just went out for a minute, so
Hey
had to wait for it to reboot. See, there you go, Audrey. All right.
You know I got no plans. You already know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you were talking about picking songs, and you're not picking songs anymore.
Not really.
Okay, so have we talked about how you've been navigating through this pandemic?
Kebbi?
Well, it's been tough for me. I've been playing alone at home, and one or two gigs, but not many gigs, much less gigs than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been good. It's been an introspective time for me. So I've been looking within. So it's been a good time.
Have you been composing or just,
I have.
I'm glad.
because I know you've got the Wolf Pack, so I know you got to be writing music.
Yeah. I've been, I have been thinking about a lot of music. I've been playing a lot of flute and sax
Oh, okay.
and making things. Just being home is just a whole different perspective. Being home and all the time being at home.
What about you, Audrey?
Well, composing is not it's the last time I composed something. It's been a long time, but right now there are songs that come my way. Things like right now, one of them that came my way is Pananica, and I'm trying to do something with that. I just don't know what, but it just for me, the thing is, I don't know how to say this. If I can hear a song or think about a song and hear room for myself in it, then I'm attracted. Which is one of the reasons why great song, wish I'd written it. Great song, wish I'd written it. I don't care to sing Misty. It's been done perfectly for me as a singer a couple of times, and I don't hear where I can do anything, to interest myself when I sing it. You know what I mean? And it's a great song. So I have that kind of attitude about tunes. There's this Burt Bacharach composition, Who Is Gonna Love Me? And I'm trying to think about what I can do with that. Maybe I'm still scatterbrained, but I think that the one good thing about this period is the fact that it gives us time to have to reverse processes or work on some part of being an artist, which is what your personal vision is. That's what an artist has to present, your vision of things. So
Does the fact that, in the midst of this pandemic, we're still dealing with a social justice movement, does that have anything to do with how you look at music, how you choose music?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because to me, the problems that we're having, we've always had. I mean, since the time, we've always had. I heard somebody say one time, and this sounds disloyal or something like that, but America started screwed. Think about it. Started out and came up with a constitution, and here are the rules, and here's how we're going to do this. And as we fix it, we're going to have amendments and we're going to do things like it's never been fixed. And these kind of things, I think what is happening now, it's not that, oh my goodness, look at these people's attitudes. It's that you have somebody in a position of authority who gives you permission to think it's okay to let your free flag fly. That's the problem. That's why the people that we pick as leaders, it's critical that we really examine that thing. Because what?
Yeah, especially in light of what's happening in the last couple of days in DC.
That's what's unprecedented. Yeah, it's the level to which people feel entitled. Now, this I haven't seen. And here's another thing: I haven't seen anything like this since the 1960s when I saw. High pressure hoses being turned on people. When I saw attack dogs being set, when I saw people being shot for peaceful walking, and being accused of rioting, people being beaten down, people being lynched is what it is. In the 1960s on TV. Yeah. So you still this is that really, but on another level, in another way. And sanctified or blessed or encouraged by somebody who says that it's okay. Really? There's no shame. There's no, I got to hide it. It's not even illegal right now. That's how it looks like these people are thinking. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
Kebbi.
Yeah.
Come back into the picture. There you go. Okay. Could you guys know that you always wanted to be in music? And if you did, when did it begin? And who were your greatest influences? Kebbi?
Well, my father played sax, so I came in, and my uncle was in the Commodores, so
Okay, I didn't know that.
In the picture for me.
Oh.
So when I started playing, it was easy. Not easy because I had to train, but
So when did you pick up your sax? The first, when did you really begin? What age?
10 years old, elementary school. I picked up sax and started playing.
Did you have a band in the school?
Yeah, I was in the band. And then I didn't get into jazz until about 10th grade. And I got in jazz band in high school. And then we started to deal with real jazz. And college, I went to Howard is when I really got inundated in real music.
Now, I know in the 70s, Donald Byrd, Roberta Flack, Stanley Cowell were up there. Who was up there when you were there?
Nowadays, Chris Dave was there, who plays with Robert Glasper, and Raymond Angry was there. There were some guys there, but when we were there, we were looking up to Donald Byrd and the Blackbirds, Jerry Allen, Wallace Roney, Greg Osby. Those were all the people we looked up to when we were there. But we had a lot of peers who were awesome too, and I think that just the atmosphere at Howard was good for me. Just all the other people who were serious about music, and we all checked out all the history of music. We listened to Charlie Parker up to the Blackbirds, so and Avant Garde as well. It was great.
Now, Audrey, you started out playing piano for R&B groups, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I was an R&B group. It was, I like the Commodore Zoom. And I tried to be Stevie Wonder, and I tried to be Shaka Khan. Lord have mercy, Screaming Howling, Natalie Cole, whatever. In the 70s, I was married to a bassist, and so that's a lot of a group. We could take cheaper gigs because we lived together, and that's not the way to think about it, y'all. So, but that's what we thought. So, and it was fun, and people would say, "Oh, that's nice," but it's not correct. And then after a while, I realized that it wasn't. It was. I was a jazz musician. It was my interpretation of the Doobie Brothers or something. It wasn't. It wasn't right. Like when I heard Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye singing a duet, I always sang a third part because I heard it. And then people say, "That's not in the record." Well, so so I knew I was a jazz musician, a poor jazz musician early on. Yeah, a sad one. You start, and learn to crawl, learn to walk, learn to run. So I'm hoping to run today.
My understanding has always been that the very nature is exploration and innovation, even with recognized melodies. Yet there's a language among musicians that the untrained may understand, yet they can always recognize the emotion in the song. Is there a common thread between scat, improvisation, and the avant-garde?
Never thought about that. I think probably, well, one of the problems that I think about singing, unfortunately, it's very easy to do. If you can talk, you can sing. Maybe not well, but you can do something. It's very easy to do. Scatting to me and being an effective jazz musician means to me that I should be the responsibility that you have, Kebbi, on you when you show up with a horn. That's the responsibility I have when I show up and say I'm a jazz artist. There should be no difference. It bugs me. People say, "Oh, you're a quartet with a singer." No, we're a quintet. Okay, you know. And there's some musicians, some living in Atlanta that I love. You know, that when they would call me to do something, they give me some horn parts. You know, and like this one. Oh my God, what is his name? He gave me this second part. It was me and a saxophonist, and so the good thing about that is this music, you know, these lines don't come easily to the ear. Now I have to think, oh, that's an augmented something, and then you go like this, and then you know, I have to think through, which makes me a stronger singer, I think. So those kind of exercises. But I just feel for me, and it's for me. I'm not the one that says this is what a jazz singer is, or this is what a jazz musician is. But for me as an artist, it's the most fulfilling, it's the most fun when I, first of all, recognize the excellence of the people that have established high points in jazz, like you said, Charlie Parker or Sarah Vaughan or Betty Carter or somebody, and recognize why too, not just oh they're great, but why. And I need to be able to perform on some kind of level sometimes like they did, the way they established it. So it's not just show up in a dress and some hair and be able to sing in tune, but it's whatever it is that you need to do, Kebbi, when you show up. That's what I should be able to do too. That's what I think.
I agree.
So, Kebbi, you improvise a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
So, how do you approach your, you know, a song that you compose that, you know, and it sounds like it's all improvised, but yet I know it's not. You know, how do you you know, it's almost like I can't tell when you're doing a solo because it all sounds like you're just improvising and saying what you're, you know, what you're feeling inside. You know, it was like, you know, Coltrane would just take a solo and, you know, 15 minutes later, he'd be like, okay, I'm done. Whew, I got everything out, you know. And I see that when in your playing that, you know, you've got a lot to say, even though we may not understand it, you do. You know, so how do you approach the performance when you're giving the audience like a new song? If that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, in improvisation, you know, I try to listen to the moment and what's happening right there and then, and you know who I'm playing with. I mean, even the temperature, everything. You're listening to everything. You're feeling everything. And it's just trying to be honest with. And I believe that every day is different. So if you're really honest with what's happening at the time, you know, it'll be a different sound every time you play. So I mean, and this is avant garde I'm speaking of right now. And you know, definitely study the masters, and we think about what has happened before, and the truths that have happened before, and but then we try to listen to what's happening right now, and we're having a conversation right now, and we're on a phone or Zoom, and it has a certain feeling, and we're going with that, and that is kind of the complexion of our piece, of our art piece right now. And it's the same with music, you know, we're everything in the moment is a color, and you capture it, and that's what I try to do with the avant garde. just kind of capture the moment. That's what I think about.
Wow. So you said something I never thought about. You've gone beyond sound. You bring in temperature. You
Yeah,
know, I've heard the word colors a lot, but you actually see. One time, I was blessed to sit with Dizzy Gillespie in his presence. Okay, and
Mhm.
he was saying what he wanted to say. You know, it was casual, and he wasn't. You know, he was just so. Somebody asked him about music. You know, where does he think the future of music, popular music, and jazz is? And he said he thinks that it's going to get to the place where there's one world music. That's what he said, one music. And at the time he said that, I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Think of all the cultures and all the sounds. And how can you blend all that into one thing? These people that can do quarter tones, you know, and sing
Mhm.
deliberately, and these polyphonic rhythms and all of this stuff that these weird instruments, weird to me because I don't know how they work. You know, all these different thoughts. How can you make one thing? But what I think it is ultimately, and this is what's happening as I grow older, as I grow old, thank God for that too. I find it's difficult for me to see where something ends and where something else begins now. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
just musical styles, I mean, period. When I take my car to get it repaired, I had to go. I almost had a stroke that the engine light came on, and I thought, man, I don't have enough money to buy an engine or whatever. And it turned out to be like $400. I said, thank you, God. But you know, I looked at the guys that were working on my car, and they do what I do, but they do it to cars.
yeah.
It's no different. When I go to a restaurant, last time I went to a restaurant and had a meal that made me want to run in the kitchen and kiss a couple of people. They did with the food what I do
Mhm.
song. See, it's blurred. I don't see a lot of difference. And when you said study the masters and understand the history, that's that is a very specific thing that you apply to a discipline. You know, it wouldn't help me to be able to cook better to know why Charlie Parker played like that. You
Yeah,
know, but the spirit of why did he play like that is what Emeril Lagasse uses when he looks at some artichoke and says, "Here's what we can do."
yeah.
Okay.
That's so. I'm interested. You said temperature. I'm gonna remember that because I'm gonna write that down. That's an interesting concept. I never really thought, you know. And it's also everything that you can have, every experience that you can use that. That's
Mhm.
as powerful as you are.
Mhm.
That's revealing to me. Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean, and I understand, like when I was on the radio, I would have days that were great days and I'd program the show a certain way. And then I'd have days that were just, why did
Okay.
I get up? And the show would go a whole nother direction.
yeah,
And it was a constant struggle for me to like try to keep my own personal feelings out of the programming because I'm playing music for other people that don't know what my day was like.
yeah.
And I didn't want to bring them down, because I'm playing all this music that's actually making me feel better, but it could be a downer for whoever's listening. So I understand about, when you said temperature and color, because all that is a blend of how you engage your audience. You
Yeah.
know, my question is, with so much improvisation in the songs, like you're scatting, Audrey, when you have to choose whether you be shooby dooby doing or body body bing or because it's not the same sounds for everything.
Yes.
And Kebbi, when you're improvising, how do you guys practice? Because it's a different thing every time you play it.
One of the things I think is, first of all, if I'm going to make my instrument is this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's changed over the years. There are some people who say, well, you know, if this happens to you, then your instrument will get worse, you know, and you won't like it. I had somebody tell me that one time, and I said, you know what, I like everything that I can do, because I use it, you know, whatever it is. this is the instrument I have, and I work it. And I can't go buy another one or anything. So what I think about is how to use the sounds that I can make. Period. And I do have some combination of things like, okay, here, this is psychotic. Okay, here you go. So sometimes I think I see motion when I sing. Like if I'm gonna let me see, something's going along, I don't know what it is, and then I see something go like, do you, yeah, that's really a dead stop. And I don't know if you know anything about like cartoons when I grew up, like the Road Runner
Mhm.
and then he runs into something and then he goes and then he sinks down. I have those kind of visions
Okay.
sometimes thing in my tool bag or in my kit or it's a combination of it's not just sounds. I don't worry about like articulation. I had to let that go because I could go crazy with that too. And this is just me, but I'm excited to be able to do whatever I can do. I wish I could dance. It's kind of late, but okay.
I
Well,
think you could if you wanted to.
I could if I wanted to. Yes, I
But I
could.
mean, but even with, like performances, song, even if it's a classic, it's never played the same way twice.
It's not.
So, Kebby, when you're,
Time.
when you rehearse, how do you rehearse an improvisation when
Oh,
it'll change the moment? Like you said, you walk into the room, you're seeing colors, you're feeling temperature, you're taking the pulse of the audience. That song that you rehearsed, it has a whole nother color when you're improvising on stage. So how do you rehearse a song in improvisation of the avant garde?
Yeah, the song is like the grail. It's like the holy grail. Like I don't want to say the Bible, but the song is what the color or the presentation that you're doing, and then you improvise, and then you speak what you want to speak, and that's the improvisation of the now and the colors that you want to speak. And the song is just kind of like a structure and a guideline of a way you can go. And then of course, a lot of the standards people have made so many different ways, like, different from what the author originally intended. People just like, just do so many different nice spins and
Mm-hmm.
creative things on it. But I think the song is the mantra and the incantation, so to speak, that you start with, and then you can speak of the day and of the times, because you'll do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Once you start speaking, you're going to speak whatever the day is and the times are. And so, the song is just the reverence and the structure of what you may be going after. The tune. So you go after a certain vibe with a certain tune that you call, and then you speak to today or wherever you're dealing with at the moment.
is going after the vibe. But you said the structure, so you practice the structure,
Right,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you get out there and then you see what happens,
right,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, okay.
Mm.
yeah. That's why you pick a for me. That's why I pick a tune. I pick a tune because I like it. Do 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 do. Hey, baby, I pick tunes because I like them. I like something about the bounce of them. Uh, there's some tunes that don't have anything to me, but like maybe one little hook here somewhere or another. One of them is "Say It." I think about that one a lot. There's nothing in there. It's repetitive, but then it goes somewhere. The way it gets to the bridge, that's the little part that I really like. And then I like the simplicity of it. It's to me, it's like cream of wheat. Now, ain't nobody gonna get all excited and get dressed up. Come on, baby, let's go have some cream of wheat.
Hey,
But
I like cream of wheat. That's one of my favorite things.
it's satisfying, and it's like cream of wheat to me. It's good. It reminds
Right.
me when I was young, or my mama would make something, and we just,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel things and you hear things. I just got through listening to a lot of Handel's Messiah, uh, and there was this one group that was singing this thing in England somewhere, and the soloist, the tenor, uh, comfort ye, my people. I mean, he didn't sing. I don't think he sang three notes together that Handel actually wrote. It
Okay.
was on him to, this is my thing right now. I dug that so much. This is just the way it's going to go. All the embellishments that he would put in there, which made the music more alive, because in every period, I'll bet, I haven't lived in all of them, so I'm just saying what I think. The live performance is what's happening now. Whatever that is, and this guy has moved to do like that. And when I hear a song, if I'm going to do it, it's like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna stop talking for at least 10 minutes.
We're getting ready to cue up one of your songs, Audrey, so people can understand what this whole scat thing is about.
Yeah.
That don't know.
When I'm in the middle of something with people, first of all, the band. First of all, even if there isn't a band, like if it's just me and a bass, or me and another horn, or if there's still a band, I hear other things, and it color is what I do. And I want whoever's listening, whoever's in this space with me, wherever they are, to be with me. I don't want them to be thinking about, like, you got Betty Carter over there. I see her. Somebody else. I want you to just be with me. I'm a jealous lover. Then you go and think something else somewhere else. But I really,
I like that.
Yeah, I need you to be where I am, and I need to be where you are. It's a thing. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. On that note, we're going to listen to you a piece of your performance of the song Cherokee.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what this is. All right. I'm scared. Oh Lord.
Sweet and since first I met you, I've been for you. That's right.
Oh my. Okay. That was then.
That was a good one.
Then this is now. Yeah. I kind of enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. I mean, now
I
it's kind
did
of fun
too.
to listen to.
So that's what I was saying. You make up which sounds you're going to make at the moment.
Yes, I want to hear. I'm attracted to rhythm. I'm attracted to the space where the sound occurs more than melodic harmonic interest, I think it's where the sound occurs. As that's that's the first thing for me is what kind of sound is it? And so like for me, like I went, I anticipate things or I hold back, I plan stuff, but not in a rehearsal. It just kind of comes to me in the moment. Yeah, it does. And the reason that it comes to me in the moment is because of the preparation that I've done, not in a rehearsal, but through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the fact that, like I say, I put on myself the responsibility to be like what the trumpets should be, like when somebody, brings out a flute or a saxophone, what you expect of them. And they say, I'm a saxophonist and I play jazz. You have expectations.
Right.
I expect the same thing, out of myself. I'm disappointed if I'm just, little girl singer.
Now, Kebbi, we were talking earlier, I remember you shedding in the hallways outside of WCLK.
Wow.
And, first time I saw you, I was like really amazed. And you were telling me it was because of the sound that you were getting in the hallway that you couldn't get anywhere else on campus. Does that still hold true to this day?
Well,
That you find spaces where
the shed is the place to be. When you're practicing, that's what it's all about. And where you practice, it just helps shape what you're practicing. So, what I practiced back then, it definitely was formulative. And but being around and being on the scene and being able to see Audrey and go places and see like really, people really doing the thing and really playing, that also is a part of it too. And knowing what the standard is, when I first saw Audrey, it's like, okay, this is the standard. This is the level. And I feel like it's my duty to always play at the highest level I can play. No matter what complexion it may be, I still need to play at the highest level.
right.
It shows in your playing that you have that kind of integrity. That you're trustworthy like that.
That's a kind of compliment. Thank you.
No, it's a statement of fact. It's not a compliment.
Yeah, because I remember when I was to the Atlanta jazz scene, so many people at such a low level, and guys were like, "Oh yeah, I want to be like them." I was like, "But they're not that good," And the one thing I found out was that some of these guys could really play, but they played down because the people that they were playing with couldn't keep up with them.
Wow. Oh,
and it would have been so distorted for one person to be playing at this high level, else be playing at this low level.
Oh my God, that's dumb down.
Yeah, because Eric Vaughn was one of those. Great drummer. And I saw him playing with Cedar Walton. I was like, "Why don't you play like this all the time?" He was like, "I can't."
You know what? It's funny. I came from a place where I saw fights about the way the music was going. I mean, physical fights. This guy came into a club one time, Kebbi, horn player, tenor player. He had a tenor in a hand tool leather bag. I mean, it was sharp. He had on this green hand tool, this green jumpsuit thing, leather. And he was tall, dark, odd looking, and just all kinds of things. And he came in, everybody went, "Ooh, who is that?" Brought out his horn, had some big fat sounds to, get it warm. So they were playing the blues, and I don't know what he was playing, but it wasn't avant garde, so it wasn't a misunderstanding of me. He couldn't play, period. And he got the tune. He called him a few names, talked about his mother, and said, "We don't play like that here." He talked about somebody else's mother. Next thing I know, they were outside fighting. That is music. It's not correct.
Yeah.
But that's not the only time I've ever seen a fight. I come to Atlanta, I hear, and the demand for the level, I haven't seen it. Now there are people in Atlanta that play, and people in Atlanta that call Atlanta home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about Atlanta. It's something about these people in New York were mad because, like, one of them was a very famous drummer's son. I mean, very famous. And another one, you know, and it's like, you know, so these people did all these things, and then you come in here and you think, you know, you're gonna get over like this, and then you're gonna say something too. But it's, you know, in order to, it's not trying to be mean to people who can't play, because I mean, who, you weren't born playing, Kebbi. I know you were sad.
Oh no, not at all.
You know, you go to those concerts and you just smile. My son, oh my God, I remember some of those honking and squeaking things he used to do. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be better one day, but you know, you go for it, and you know, but we need to. I can't. I heard a few days ago, I heard Louis Armstrong singing "I Cover the Waterfront." I don't know when I'm gonna be able to sing that one again, because the swing was so, you know, it was so hard, you know, it was, and that's the way this thing should go. It should go. I mean, not like he did. He's not the example of how it should go. The level of the concentration. That's the way it should go. And you know, Kebbi, I want to ask you a question, because somebody asked me this and I thought it was profound. I never thought of it. What do you want your audience to do when they come to hear you? What are they supposed to do?
Now that is an awesome question. That's a great question. You know, I will want them to be enlightened and entranced, maybe, you know, to lose themselves and experience something maybe that they haven't experienced. Yeah, I think that's what I would want from the audience, for them to lose them.
Lose themselves in listening to, in participating in what's happening. Am I putting words in it?
Yes. So if we were in such a zone, if whoever I was creating with, if we can get in such an honesty, in such an honest zone, that the people could go with us and travel with us, and it happens. I think that's what I would want for the audience, for them to come with us.
Yes. You know what I want from the audience? I want them to be there. And then I want to make sure that I give them something that they can feel. Giving them something. You know,
and that's very important. I mean, I've been at you know, different performances with you, Kebbi, and you, Audrey, and you know, people walk in and want to talk to me, and I like, stop. Pay attention to what they're doing. You know, they're doing something that will never be done again. And trying to talk through it just to say hi and have, you know, you don't have that kind of conversation while people are on stage.
Yeah.
You know, that's what breaks are for. You know, we'll be back in 15, you know, then you talk. You know. And on that note, we're going to listen to a little bit of Kebbi in a performance that I'm not even sure what song you're playing, but I love the performance. So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's Wolfpack.
I recognize that Sheila in there. So, and you were saying, your audience being into it. I could see the audience around you was very interested in the moment with you.
Yeah, everyone was there.
Yeah.
It's funny. Do you often does the audience get with you enough to feed you, or you probably do have some moments where it's going so well that it's not even about you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the drug of this thing.
Yeah.
Drug addicts, because that's what I'm going for the next one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. It wasn't beautiful. That's not the right word. But it was trancing. It was
It's transcendent. The what you do and how you affect an audience is amazing. And you do it in a lot of ways without words. When I listen to you, Scat, you're taking me places that musically that have no words to it, but yet it has a feeling and an emotion that transports me wherever you want me to go. And the same thing with you, Kebbi. You know how to grab an audience and entertain them, and your energy is like amazing.
Thanks.
I mean, that goes on to when we were talking about you showing up in Ireland at a gig with Joe Locke earlier. I mean, what was that experience like? 'Cause I never thought of jazz in Ireland.
Oh, why not?
But, because I guess at the time my sensibility was tied to London and Paris for jazz.
Okay.
It wasn't, it was later that, I realized Ireland had jazz and Stockholm had jazz, and it came from research from expatriates bouncing out of America to Europe and then landing in all the countries and, being accepted and performing. So, when Joe told me that you were one of his favorite saxophonists and that you walked into a club in Ireland, what was that experience like, man?
No, it was great. Being in another country, and lots of times in Europe and other countries, they really have an appreciation that we are not familiar with here because everybody's into the radio and the pop, whatever the sound of the day is, everybody's into, and it's all like the greatness is forgotten. Like the things that have happened that's great, that are still here and that are us. They appreciate that. They're like, oh, it's American music, American black music, Black American music. Like they love us over there. So going over there, there's a lot of respect, and you go over there and you play, and then you see your buddies and you see your friends. And I saw Joe Locke, and we just played and we had a great time and everybody loved it. It was amazing. It was great. It was a good time.
I want you, Carl, to know. Okay, according to me, and I should say everything according to me. When people do anything out of a compulsion, like this is what I have to do. You ever see on YouTube or somewhere, or maybe you've been to one, like a Persian wedding, where those men get together and they dance and they do jazz too. Because of the way they do that thing, because of the heart and soul that goes into the way the musicians play that music.
Right.
That's jazz too. Jazz is everywhere. It's just a word that was created to describe a very essential kind of playing that developed in this country, stream. But when Shirley Caesar sings about "I won't be back no more," that's jazz too.
Yes.
And when Maria Callas tuned up on a few things, that's jazz. So that's again of my. I can't see the difference. I really can't. Now that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to get up with them Persian men and dance because I can't. Because I don't sing that way.
Right.
The edges we meet.
Right.
We all meet, and that's why Kebbi can play things, and not another person in that audience can understand, articulate, speak to, say anything. But they were goofing with it anyway because there's a place where you meet them, and that's where the sharing occurs. And you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to come to his thing and know all about what Coltrane did or what Kebbi did or anybody.
Right.
You come in there and just say, "Here we are," and enjoy yourself because you meet. That's the thing.
And it's the moment. I always hate when people say, "Well, who's the greatest sax player?" There is no greatest sax player. Every generation, every decade had its own. And I can't compare Kebbi to Coltrane. Because Kebbi is Kebbi, and he's doing great things in
Coltrane.
Right. It's like, and just because one had a great PR guy and another one didn't. I mean, I've seen musicians in Harlem. I used to go to this pub late in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. They'd show up and, people that you never even heard of outplay some of the greatest people in the world.
Killing it. Yeah.
But they just didn't want to tour. They didn't want to be in that rat race. So they come out every now and then and play a little bit and then go on home. And you don't see them for months.
Yeah.
So, all right, real quick, 5 questions.
Oh, Lord.
What are you listening to these days?
Kebbi.
I'm listening to a lot of classical music. I'm actually reading a book about Mozart and Beethoven. I'm listening to a lot of classical music.
Okay. Audrey?
I'm listening to a lot of classical music. I've been listening to Robert Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. I've been listening. I hate to say it. I've been listening to myself a little bit too, but not much.
Okay.
Not much. But yeah. And then I've been trying to listen to something that isn't recorded. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to inspired by something that is here. And if I had the right frequency, I could play it back.
Okay.
Amazing.
What do you do to get away from your job?
Well, I cook. I don't look like it, but I do. I eat, so, in small portions, but I appreciate food.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Kebbi?
Oh, me? I actually cook also.
All right.
I do.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Blue?
I don't have one.
Okay.
I don't know how you pick one.
What's your favorite vacation spot?
Oh my God. Where there's water.
Water, right? Yeah.
Probably somewhere in Brazil or the Mediterranean or Caribbean.
Maybe South Africa for me.
You like South Africa?
Yeah, I like it.
I've never been. I have to go.
What's your favorite performance? Do you have one?
Audrey's.
No, I don't. Oh, yes, I do. I have 2.
Okay.
Real quick. One, I was about 8 or 9, and my father took me to this faith healer who later went to jail for racketeering. But anyway, in this big, one of those movie palace things built in the early 1900s, Art Deco and everything else. And this guy had a singer in there. I was like 9, and she started singing. I remember she was wearing a lavender dress, and it was Mahalia Jackson. And she stole my breathing. I've never experienced anything like that. Up to that moment, I couldn't understand what's going on. She was singing way over there. We were in the nosebleed seats. And she held my lungs in her hands. I can't even tell you. It happened again. I was about 30, I guess, and Dizzy Gillespie was playing in this club, little club, and he stopped playing. It was in Cleveland too, and he stopped playing because this person had walked in, and he said, "Oh, this is," he named this person, this asexual looking, I don't know, smile, slightly built. I didn't know what it was, and he said, "And they're gonna sing for us," and I was like, "I don't want to hear anything coming out that little body." And then that person sang all of me. By the time they got to the me, I was like, "This is Mahalia Jackson again." It was Jimmy Scott.
Jimmy Scott. Yep.
Oh,
Person. Now,
nice.
those are my two favorite. Oh, and there's a third one too. Betty Carter,
Mm-hmm.
Little 5 Points in a theater. She
Mm.
was she was torturing this ballad. I mean, she was, and the joint was so quiet. You could hear the cars in the street. The joint was quiet. You know it was packed because of Betty Carter.
Right.
And
Right.
then there was this man in the audience, and he just let out this anguish, like, he couldn't take it anymore. You know, she was working on it. And she smiled. I could see her. She said, I got him. She sure did. Now, that was the third one. And I thought, I want to be able to do that. Just reach out. Here's a strange man, hundreds of people up in here, and she got that guy, and he couldn't be quiet.
Mhm.
That's what I want to do. That was bad. That was bad. So it's those three. Yeah.
Kebbi, you got one?
Audrey, I'd have to say, just seeing her and being around her, Audrey Shakir is one of the best performances I've seen. She's just amazing, and she's been around, and she knows so much of the real.
No.
She's amazing, and I'd
You
have to
are.
say her. She,
Someday. I'm working on it. Someday.
yeah, you're amazing. You're awesome. I
I'm
mean,
working on it.
everybody loves you, but I love you too.
Oh, I'm lovable.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Oh my goodness. I love
Audrey,
life.
Kebbi, it's been fun being with you, and I apologize for the internet mishap in the beginning, but you know, this is technology, it happens. You know?
Abraham Lincoln said, "Don't trust the internet."
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, a great thinker. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to thank both. Huh?
You right quick. Have you got a second? What's that picture of the lady in the robe there? That's beautiful.
That is by an artist friend of mine named Al Johnson, and it's called Preponderance.
Ooh.
And I put her over my desk so that she could watch over me as I work and keep me on the straight and narrow. Yeah. And the other one on the other side is your favorite person, Betty Carter.
Carter, looking like it's
Yes.
out. It will. Yeah.
And the first time I saw her, it was in Newport Jazz Festival, 1979.
Mm-hmm.
And she was on stage as I was walking in. They were announcing her, and she came on stage and blew the roof off the place.
That's
And
all
I've been a Betty Carter fan ever since.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah. No reason
but
not.
thank you for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. It's always good to see you. I haven't seen either one of you in at least a good decade. You know? I miss you guys. I really do. I miss being able to sit in an audience and just enjoying the music that y'all perform.
I miss it too. I want to see you, Audrey, soon.
So, you know, when it's safe to fly again, I'm gonna have to roll up to Baltimore and see you. And you know,
you don't want to do that, but I'll come your way. That'll be good.
No,
come on.
I'll be able to see you at the Keystone Corner.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know,
at that time, the way it's going. Yeah, but
you know, if Todd can hold on, you know.
Yeah, it's got to be better. It can't keep going like this.
Oh no, it's gonna get better. Yeah. So keep shedding, Kebbi, because I'll be back in Atlanta eventually, and I'll hang out with y'all in the Wolf Pack again.
Come on.
Yeah. And Audrey, thanks for stopping by, hanging out with me for this hour. It's been, you know, my honor as always to have you as guests. And I want to thank our audience for their continual support. And again, want to thank my producer, Robbie Wyndham, for taking over briefly but keeping this show flowing smoothly as she always does. Our marketing guru, Karen Hatchett, who always doing a great and fantastic job putting the word out to the world. And also the Hammonds House Museum, the Fulton County Arts Council, the City of Atlanta Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, AT&T Time Warner Media, the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta, and NPN, the National Performance Network. Again, y'all stay safe, wear your masks, stay quarantined, social distance, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, Carl.